This is the second episode. I forgot about that. This episode is called Mountains.
Okay.
The first one was Lights in the Sky, and it was about Lumen's soul being put into his brother's body, and what there's like a background thing going on, which is Mase, Milos, Wingo, and Psi Factor, the Guardians of Tetea. They're actually protecting the island during these events outside of the shield that covers the island, and you can see their battle like flashlights on the other side of the shield, which is why they were not present to stop Shang from taking Sanford's power.
Okay.
Because there's a battle going on. But during Mountains here, this is following Jake's banishment. And he leaves through a wormhole in the center of the island of Tetea in the swamp, which randomly sends you throughout the universe. And they can survive anywhere. They don't need atmosphere. And he ends up... he ends up on the elf world, which is actually in another dimension.
Okay.
If he hadn't died, he wouldn't have been able to leave. But this is also where Balthazar decided to hide himself. Because when he showed up, he discovered that the elves had created another dimension, and he hid in that pocket.
Ooh, interesting.
But then a Tetean shows up and starts, looking around and stuff, and sees the elf world, and Balthazar knows he can be discovered because he's disguised himself as an elf. And ends up saying that Jake's an intruder and kills him.
Oh. Okay. So
not a good situation for Jake ever.
Not at all, huh?
He just got this body.
Not working out very well.
Not working out. It served its purpose. It stopped Shang from enslaving the universe in peace, but it's not allowed to own the entire. Even George isn't allowed to own over a certain percent of the universe.
Own the whole universe.
Right. You can't monopolize the universe.
The brothers Dan Smith and Blacksmith discover their powers. Both end up in the cosmos.
They're humans, but the geek have imbued them with the magical ability. Not immortality, but 1,000-year hibernation.
Oh, okay.
They have a lot of energy inside them. Too much for a human body to contain. Without proper training, it could end up killing them. So occasionally they have to burst it out and just release all their energy, which will destroy an entire city of surface area, like a large city of surface area, but also send them into a 1,000-year hibernation while they recover. And this is a cycle that can happen with them, both Don Smith and Blacksmith.
Oh, okay. Teo meets Lumen in one of his lives.
Teo Gokai, and it would be great if Chris was here to explain his character. But if you just put in the question, can you talk about Teo? Then I'll have Chris just explain his character. But this is where he finally crosses paths with Lumen after Lumen has taken over somebody else's life. And that's sort of like the Lumen Stories spin-off that I was planning. But I don't actually explain everything that goes on in there, because I kind of want it to be a video game.
Ah.
Okay. I told you about that video game idea.
Yes.
Yeah, see that? I want that story to be like the player's idea. What happens?
Build a construct.
Let the players decide.
So we get... What is this?
Mations.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Mations discover their mystic powers. One named...
Apocoite.
Apocoite.
Their names are abbreviations.
Oh, okay.
Every letter in their name means something, and for a long time, their names were in their own language. But they ended up changing it for English speakers. Apocoite means all-powerful ace commando overlord instructing great horrible titans.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, he's destined by one of the Mason shamans, who names all Masons, to instruct an army of Masons.
So this gets a little interesting.
Called Titans.
So Apocoite gathers the 20 strongest Masons to form an army.
And if you're a Mason and you believe you're stronger than one of them, you fight them to the death and you can take their place if you win.
If you live,
That's
you're clearly better.
That's how he gathered the 20 strongest.
Wow.
Because he proclaimed that 20 of them were the strongest, and if another one wanted to take their spot, they could challenge him.
Oh, wow. The dwindling army, but still 20.
Always 20.
Okay.
For a while.
The other Masons slaughter their women in hopes of being the last of their race. Oh, dear.
Well, they discovered the hexadeciman thing. That the council grants immortality to the last of their race. And they're all like,
well, I want to be the last of my race.
Yeah, I want to be granted that. So how do we do that? It's like, well, we can't have more Masons, so we'll have to kill the women. So they just all women must die.
Oh, wow.
All Mason women, they're dead. That's why there aren't any in the saga. They just all died.
The wildebeest disagrees with Sir George's rule and farms his own army.
I'm not going to explain why his name is Wildebeest.
Really?
No.
Okay. Wildebeest recruits a scientist who spent time with the sentient robot, and
Doc.
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 Oh, okay. Builds 4 sentient robots.
I know my O's and my A's are confusing. Did I name them?
The 4 sentient robots?
Yeah.
Not yet.
Their names are Millennial. Is it Claus? I think it was Claus. Jacqueline and Red Ant.
Oh. Okay.
They all have, as the way that they were created by instruction from the first sentient robot, the first quantum computing robot, they only have one weak spot on their body. Sometimes it's vulnerable, sometimes they have a way of trying to protect it, but all damage to the outside of their body is concentrated on the weak spot. It will absorb all damage, but if you hit it, you can destroy them.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So the war between the Picatos?
Picotos.
Okay. The war between the Picotos and the Catons, for the planet Typhae, only leaves one Caton survivor. The planet is destroyed-ish. Dorm is granted immortality.
Because he's the last.
As the last of his race.
He's the last of his race.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Not his choice. He was... The planet... Both races wanted this planet. I call it Tife. I don't know. I spell things weird as a kid.
Oh, okay.
So
I just however you pronounce it.
I just never changed it.
Oh, okay.
I'm just like, you know what? I don't care if it's not spelled the way I pronounce it. I'm still going to, sometimes pronounce that. But the planet Tife was owned by kind of both races. The Catons, they have like coal skin, like pitch black, kind of hardly reflective.
Oh, okay.
And they don't have lips or eyelids, but their teeth are like a big shell guarding their mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And their eyes have their own shell over them, so it's just like bright white on like this cold, dark skin.
Oh,
and then they also have horns on their head.
Really?
And they're great warriors, but they're not like overabundant, and they build cities, and they live in tall buildings and skyscrapers and stuff like that. The Picotos are born in quadruplets. and there's a lot of them. And there's no room for these cities on the planet.
Okay.
So they want the Catons to leave so that they can inhabit the planet in the plains. They don't want buildings everywhere. They want to live in the plains. There's a lot of them. Stacking up isn't helpful. It's just creating less space on the ground that they can use. Because then there's parking, streets. They don't like that.
Okay.
They're very nature oriented.
Ah.
They also have the ability to, as quadruplets, fuse together to create a more powerful being. Either two of them can fuse, three of them can fuse, or all four of them can fuse together.
Oh, okay.
So they fight.
Okay.
The Catons and the Pakotos fight. The Pakotos win. There's only one Caton left. His name is Dorm. He's standing in the middle of the battlefield wearing the armaments and the adornments and the trinkets of his fallen brethren, because Catons, whenever they pick up anything, it becomes enchanted.
Oh, okay.
As long as they're holding it, they gain strength from it. And his entire army was dead, and he was just picking up trinkets as he was going along in order to keep fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And there he was standing there, all decked out, in front of thousands of Bakotos, his entire line dead, no Catons left but him, and he just gave up.
Oh.
Plus, they destroyed the whole planet, so it wasn't even inhabitable anymore.
Oh, okay.
I think they both lost. They both lost out. No one can live there.
Right. What's the point? Can't even use it.
So he's just like, and the Pakotos are like, oh,
kind of screwed themselves, huh?
yeah. So they all left the planet. They all split up.
Okay.
And being the last of his race, right after the war, the council made him immortal.
Ah.
At like 40 years old.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So he'll always remain as a 40-year-old Caton.
Oh, okay. So, Lumen uses the body of an evil man named Barek Lumen, who has a brother named John.
Just a kid. John's just a kid.
Barek is killed by Daifon, a Mason named Froster, kills the last female.
Well, you kind of like went from timeline to timeline there.
Oh, I did.
I know they're right next to each other.
I didn't mean to run it in together.
Yeah, well, okay, so John, surprisingly, Barek Lumen, his last name is Lumen, which is why Lumen, no, it kind of is a coincidence, because that name, humans just adopt last names from all sorts of places, and Lumen's a very mysterious historical and mythological figure, so one of the humans adopted the name Lumen as their last name. Barek was a really evil guy. Bad person. And Daifon is a mystic. She can keep herself alive in the most horrible situations. But Barek stabbed her with a sword and pinned her to a wall.
Ooh.
And she was stuck there for a couple years.
Oh, wow.
So she's mad. And Lumen takes over Barek's body. By that time, his little brother John is born, and doesn't really look up to Barek, but when Lumen takes over his body and starts acting a little bit more well-behaved and better, John starts to look up to him.
Oh, okay.
Finally calls him his brother, and then Daifon shows up, angry, and kills Lumen while he's in Barek's body.
Oh, jeez.
As a revenge, she reaches through his chest, just boom, and just kills him for what Barek did.
Oh, okay.
And Lumen's trying to explain things, but she's not having it.
It wasn't me.
That wasn't me. No, I'm a different person. It's like, Nobody changes. No, I didn't change.
I'm a different person.
I'm a completely different soul. Like,
Right.
I know he's in here somewhere, but he doesn't get a say in anything anymore. He just has to.
Oh, jeez.
Why? Why'd you do that? And then John's sad. His brother that he actually looked up to at this point is now dead.
That turned sour quick.
It was just like, wow, you're a good person now. We can do things together and stuff. Yay!
No, not so much. Huh?
Hey, I'm Dave Fawn. You. And then the last thing here.
Lastly,
This is, like I said, Mations are killing their women because they don't want any more Mations.
mm-hmm. So a Mation named Froster kills the last female Mation after she gives birth. The baby can't die, so he curses it and kills it, curses it and kills the one who placed the curse.
The mystic, the mystic that was naming all Mations. When this Mation was born, with white skin, powder, like no pigment, the mystic named him Blaster, and then Froster killed the mother, and while this baby was in the crib, he like punches it like as hard as he can to just crush it right away.
Oh, wow.
And it breaks his hand. And he's like, oh, and he punches the other hand and
Oh,
breaks
'cause
that
it's
hand.
been
And he just
cursed.
keeps, not yet, and he just like wails on this baby Mation, and it just destroys all the bones in his hands, and he can't kill it. And he looks at the mystic and he says, I want you to curse this baby. So she like places these cuffs on his arms that will stop him from achieving his true strength.
Okay.
And however strong he gets, the more they drain his power.
Oh.
Or suppress it, rather. And the mystic, being the only one that knows how to remove the curse, is a liability, so he kills the mystic.
Oh, I see.
So now nobody knows how
Nobody
to
can
remove
remove
the
the
curse.
curse.
Except for Froster,
Oh, okay.
who can now control this Mation baby.
Ooh.
Who's a very important Mation baby. His name is Blaster, and he's no pigment Mation.
Awesome. That's awesome.
And that was it for today. So, questions, answers. You get where I'm going here? Yeah?
That's good.
Yeah. Alright.
Ah! I think that went well, man.